Hi, my name is Pete, and today we're going to have a look at VirtualBox running on TerraMaster's OS TOS 5. We'll be using the TerraMaster F2423, which I have reviewed earlier. Check out the video, I put the link in the description. But it should work on any Intel NAS from TerraMaster. To have more capacity for running virtual machines in VirtualBox, I've upgraded the base memory from 4 GB to 12 GB using an 8 GB module from TerraMaster. I would advise you to upgrade the memory also. Please check out Amazon where you can find the modules from TerraMaster. And if you want to know how you can install the memory, please have a look at the review video that contains a teardown. When we're logged in on TOS 5, we go to the App Center. Then we go to the All Apps section. And in the search box, we type Virtual and VirtualBox will show up. We press the install button. It's downloading the app and is then installing. And when it's installed, it will show an icon on the desktop. Click VirtualBox. The VirtualBox app will open up in a new window. What's good to know is the default credentials are admin. Now we're logged into VirtualBox. We're going to create a new virtual machine containing Windows 10. In order to install Windows 10, we need a disk image file. And I'll show you a trick on how to get a disk image file from Microsoft. First we go to the Windows 10 download page. Where we can only download an help program. To create a USB device, you press the right mouse button and then you press inspect. At the top you can toggle between a mobile device and a desktop device. And when the page is like a mobile device and we refresh it, we now have the option to really download a disk image file. So we choose the version we want, Windows 10. Then we choose the language. And we select the 64-bit download. When it's ready, it's in the downloads folder at my computer. We want it to be on the TerraMaster NAS. We're going to connect to the NAS. Once we connect it to our NAS, I open the public folder and I copy the disk image to the public folder. And when it's in the public folder, it should be available within VirtualBox. So we go back to the VirtualBox window and we press New. We give it a name, Windows 10 for instance. And the type should be Microsoft Windows. And we select the version Windows 10 64-bit. We press Next. Now we can assign an amount of memory. And because we did the memory upgrade, I give it 4 GB of memory. We need to create a virtual disk. There are different types for hard disk files. Some types you can use with other software, but we go for the default option. That's a VirtualBox disk image. We have the option between a dynamically allocated hard disk file or a fixed size hard disk file. With a fixed size hard disk file, it takes up all the capacity we assign to it. And when it's dynamically allocated, it only uses the space from files that are stored within the disk image. We can now assign the storage space to it. It has now created a virtual machine. When we select it, we can press Settings. We're going to make some modifications to it. First of all, we can adjust the memory we assign to it. But you can also assign more processor cores to it. And because the F243 has 4 processor cores, we're going to assign 4 cores to it. And we're also going to assign the Windows 10 disk image file to the optical drive within the system, so we can boot to the Windows 10 installation. When we start a machine, we see at the display section there's a remote desktop server port at 9100. At the top right, we see a preview of the output. Okay, let's connect to the virtual machine. Within Windows, there's a client built in that's called MSTSC. Specify the IP address which is listed at the display section and also the port which it's listening to. You press connect. And now you have the output of the virtual machine on your client computer. And we're ready to set up Windows 10. As you notice, the mouse isn't really in sync with the pointer. We're going to fix later on when installing guest tools. But for now, we can just click, and if we can't reach the section, then we can navigate within the setup program with the Tab key and the Enter key to confirm. Okay, it's done preparing the installation, and what I like to do is disconnect the network card, because without an internet connection we also don't have to create or use a Microsoft account, which is mandatory when having an internet connection during setup. So we're going to disconnect the Ethernet cable. And when we continue the setup, we can create a local account. Okay, what we want to do next is reattach the network cable. And again, some default setup steps we need to complete. And still navigating with the tab key, confirming with the enter key. Okay, Windows 10 has now been set up, and we're going to fix the mouse issue. When we go back to the settings, we can press the button Install Guest Tools. It will take us to the download of the disk image file. And for this disk image file, we're going to put it in the public folder on our TNAS. We're now going to mount the VirtualBox Guest Edition disk image on the optical drive from the virtual machine. And when we go back to the virtual machine screen, go to my computer. Again, the mouse isn't in sync, so we need a bit of tricks here. We search for Explorer, use the tab key to open up the File Explorer. And we go to this PC, and we see in the optical drive the Guest Edition disk image mounted. And we choose the 64-bit installation. During the setup of the VirtualBox Guest tools, the screen can flicker a bit because of drivers that are installing for the video output, and it asks us to reboot. So we're going to reboot the virtual machine. And you'll notice the mouse pointer is in sync. I will demonstrate it using Paint and create a small drawing. So our TNAS now has a Windows 10 virtual machine you can use to run Windows software on. Thanks for watching this video, and see you next time on Peach Views.